The man experienced a terrifying nightmare in which he witnessed the funeral of his mother, Julia. Jolted awake in a state of utter panic, he immediately dialed his mother's number, only to hear the automated message, "The number you have dialed is not in service." Bewildered, he rushed to his girlfriend for comfort, but she claimed she didn't even know him. It turned out that not long ago, the man had made contact with his father, Frank, from 30 years in the past via a radio, enabling Frank to survive a fire. This act, however, had caused a dramatic upheaval in his related past. The man, named John, was a police officer. Arriving at the station, his colleague Dick handed him an unsolved serial murder case that had remained open for 30 years without identifying the perpetrator. But in John's memory, the killer had long ceased his crimes. As he flipped through the case files, John was shocked to discover that one of the victims was his now unreachable mother, Julia. Distraught, John returned home and immediately contacted his father from 30 years ago, informing him of his mother's fate and planning to have the killer apprehended early. Since Frank had not died in the fire, Julia went to work as usual the next day and unexpectedly saved the murderer at the hospital, altering the course of history. Although unsure of the killer's true identity, John used his memories to pinpoint the time and location of the next victim's murder. Frank went to a bar and quickly identified a suspect based on the description John provided. However, after waiting for a long time, nothing unusual happened. Meanwhile, at the police station, John suddenly noticed that the victim's file had vanished. He informed Frank of this development, and they began to plan their next move. Frank located the victim and stayed close to her, but when she went to change clothes, he briefly left to use the restroom and was unexpectedly attacked by the killer, who knocked him unconscious. When Frank regained consciousness and rushed to the victim's residence, it was too late. Feeling deeply guilty, Frank told John that the killer had stolen his driver's license, once again rewriting history and potentially putting them in danger. However, this also provided John with a new lead. Since the killer had touched Frank's wallet, John could use the fingerprints to identify him. He instructed his father to hide the wallet, leveraging the time difference to quickly locate the wallet sealed away for 30 years. Back at the station, John extracted the fingerprints from the wallet and discovered that the killer was a retired police officer named Jack. He soon found Jack 30 years later and mentioned the serial murder case. Jack dismissively said it was all in the past. Although John couldn't arrest Jack at the moment, he was determined to intervene in the past to save his mother, Julia. He revealed the killer's identity to his father. Just then, the young Dick arrived at Frank's house, suspecting Frank of being the killer due to his fingerprints and driver's license found at the crime scene. A heated argument ensued, and in the chaos, the radio was damaged, causing corresponding malfunctions on John's end. Frank was quickly taken to the police station for interrogation. Facing young Dick's questioning, he reluctantly revealed the truth. Dick found it absurd and angrily shouted, "You've got some nerve making jokes at a time like this. Good luck." John's mother, Julia, came to the station to inquire about Frank's situation. During her conversation with Dick, the TV suddenly reported the results of a baseball game, which matched Frank's earlier statements exactly. Dick's eyes widened in disbelief. However, shortly after they left, the murderer, Jack, sneaked into Frank's interrogation room. Sorry, due to certain reasons, we can only introduce the second part of the movie up to this point. If you want to see the rest, please go to the homepage or search for the movie title Frequency.